welcome to Super Talk Show. It's so nice having you here with us.
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much, Heidi, for inviting me. It's going to be cool.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions listed for you, but to start, would you give us an introduction about yourself?
Sure. My name is Leon Sarkisian. I'm 15 years old. I go to Newark Academy in New Jersey. I'm an avid runner and swimmer. I do lots of CrossFit races like the Spartan race. I'm an average language learner. I love learning languages. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. It's going to be cool. And I'm excited to be here. I'm the leader of the 1774 Sandwich Initiative, so it's going to be sick.
Yeah. And you mentioned you're an average language learner. I want to jump into that first. So, like on your Instagram post, once you just posted that you learned Arabic literally in a summer, and you started speaking Arabic on camera for your sandwich initiative, which we will talk about later. But so, my first question for you is, why did you choose Arabic out of all the languages in the world? And also, how did you learn it in just a summer?
So I'll tackle the first question. Why Arabic? I speak English, French, Spanish, Russian, Italian at the time. So I had sort of conquered, Europe almost. I had spoken, almost all of the languages in Europe. Of course there's some, but the main ones. I'm always looking for a challenge. That's why I went to Russian. And I have a great Russian teacher. I was progressing with my Russian. And I said, why not? Why not? Because do a Middle Eastern language, and Arabic, of course, is the most prominent one. So I said, why not? Let's do Arabic. I have an awesome Arabic teacher. She's amazing. Like I said in the video, she makes Arabic easy, straightforward, amazing. How did I learn in one summer? Well, it's a combination of things. One, I did it every day. Literally every single day I would do a lesson, which is great. Two, I have a great teacher, like I said, she's amazing. Three, I would search for every possible opportunity to speak Arabic, physically possible. We would go to a Mediterranean cuisine restaurant. I would talk to the owner, and I would find the owner, and I would track him down. I would speak Arabic to him. There's a site called Omegle. Of course, everyone knows Omegle. I would put in Arabic, and I would learn, and I would speak to people speak to people in Arabic because in America it's difficult to find people. So that's how I would find people to speak with. So yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So it only took you like how many months would you estimate?
So I started in, as we say in Arabic, Alhamdulillah, all thanks is to God that I had such a great situation this summer. I started in June. I ended in August. However, I still do lessons very regularly, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. By
Wow.
no means necessary am I, perfect, but I'm fairly confident in my level, and as the video showed, I'm I'm I can speak. We're now working on writing and reading, but
Wow.
speak. I would like to think that my speaking is pretty strong.
I would agree. So let's jump to your 1774 sandwich initiative. One question is, why did you choose sandwiches, especially as means to tackle food insecurity in your community? And also, okay, let's talk about that first because I feel like it's pretty big.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, my family has worked in food shelters, homeless shelters for basically before I was even born.
Mhm.
And over the course of that, we've gained the experience of seeing, what do people need. Over the experience, we've seen that homeless shelters, soup kitchens are amazing in what they do. They provide one meal or maybe two, or 2 times a day. Although the one that I'm familiar with, St. John's in Newark, only provides one. If you were to think about it, there's 3 meals in a day, snacks, it only covers about 30% of someone's need is one meal. That's great coverage for that, but it still leaves more uncertainty for that person going to the kitchen. Sandwiches are, it might sound trivial, but sandwiches are so amazing because in a soup kitchen, there's no to-go section. There's no, I take this on my way out and I'll go and I'll put it in my pocket and I'll save it for the next meal. There's nothing like that. What soup kitchens do have is a meal, and after the meal, people just leave and then they try and find the next meal. What the great thing about sandwiches is it creates a to-go section at these soup kitchens where someone can take 2 to 3 sandwiches, put them in their pocket as they've just left eating their meal. They put them in their pocket. They could, and you never know. They might give it to their mother, their father, their son. You know, who knows? So it's a real mobile solution to hunger because it allows them to do whatever with it. And it's a to-go section. It's really convenient for them, and I see it whenever we make the sandwiches at Newark Academy, the school that I go to, and we put them there. As people are walking out, bam, 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 everyone's taking them. And I spoke to someone. I said, "Where do you give him to?" He says, "Oh, I give him everywhere. I give him to my friend, my comrade, my son. I have a son, my daughter. So it really and it branches out. So I think sandwiches are great in that aspect of making it a mobile solution."
Yeah, I think, and that's a perfect segue to our next question because, branching out, like, I'm sure it started with you just being a freshman thinking about the sandwich initiative in your head to now like collaborating with just a plethora of like volunteers from your school.
Yes, yes.
I guess my question is, how did you get so many people involved? In the posts we saw on your Instagram page, there's so much just high schoolers creating sandwiches on the cafeteria table, I'm guessing. So how did you get so many people involved?
Um, it's interesting that we mentioned this. I think the number one thing was intense advertisement. Advertisement, not commercial, something like that, but true. Asking people, would you love to participate in this project that can really make a difference? And something great about the sandwich initiative is that you can see the impact that we're having. The moment you put the sandwiches, they're taken and people are smiling, everyone's happy, everyone's awesome. Um, you know, how did I get so many people? I think just by the fact of constantly showing the results. I think that's really something that's really important for people, especially because whenever many projects, awesome projects do great work, but many of what is done is unseen, and that is great in so many aspects. I think it's so great that work is done without having a lot of recognition. I think that's really formidable. Although I think in order to captivate people to do it, I think it's important to have a balance between the two. It's important to have a balance by showing what you're doing in order to gain people's interaction and people's interest. But I think it's also important that you do work not to show it, but to actually do the work and to make a difference. So it's a little bit of a two thing, a balance that you have to do. But I think the 1774 Sandwich Initiative has been able to do that pretty effectively, and that's why that we do great work and we help people, and also why so many people would love to help us so much.
Yeah. And actually, why did you name it 1774? Like that, I'm trying to think of why. Like, I have no idea actually.
Sure, sure. The school, Newark Academy, that I go to, believe it or not, is older than America. We're approaching our 250th anniversary next year. And the year that NA was created is 1774. So I was thinking of an ambitious goal for sandwiches, and I thought, 1774, it has a relationship to the school, it would be awesome. So that's why I chose it. It's the starting date, it's the starting year of Newark Academy. As we've progressed, we're now at somewhere around 8,500, 9,000 sandwiches. Our next goal is 17,740. So what we've done is we've pushed the decimal back. We're on different fronts as well. For coats, we're currently at around 300 winter coats. Our next goal is 1,774 coats. We've believe it or not, we've collaborated with a police department in our area, and we've conquered our goal of 1,774 socks. Uh, it's important that I clarify that the socks, it doesn't mean physical socks. 1774 socks. We're talking about pairs of socks. going to be somewhere around 3,500 socks. But pairs, we've conquered both. But we're continuing on, and that's why.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
so about like the police department, to sort of elaborate on that, how did you get like local newspapers? I saw articles
Yes.
featuring your initiative. So how did you get those, like, I don't know, how do you call it? Marketing? Sort of.
Sure. I
Yeah.
guess. So I'll sort of run through the little process for each one. For the one in my town, I work in a group called Bridges, where groups of teenagers in the area collaborate together to fight homelessness and food insecurity. I had collaborated the 1774 Sandwich Initiative with this program, and the leader of the program, an awesome woman that I know named Amanda. She notified me of this. I said, hey, it would be an awesome opportunity to talk about bridges and the 1774 Sandwich Initiative. So yeah, I that was how sort of that happened. For suburban Essex and the vicinity, I posted something on Instagram, and a couple weeks later, I got an email, just an email from Vicinity, and asking about it. And I said, "Oh, that would be cool." Then
Oh,
my family is a subscriber to the Vicinity magazine, so I had got it, and I saw a bunch of. I was inspired by it because I saw lots of teenagers doing their own work. Said, "Hey, that would be a good idea for us." So I contacted them. And that's how that worked out. The one that's the most funny is the Land Rover one, the Land Rover North America. We have a truck that we use to transport the sandwiches from where we make them to the soup kitchen. And
mhm.
many of the photos that we take encompass this truck. And surprisingly enough, there's a huge following behind this model of truck, and there's a huge magazine, the Land Rover North America. So they had put us on the first page to show that we are using the truck for good purposes. So that was cool, and yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And I guess the sort of next aspect I want to hear about your life is running and sports. Like you post a lot of running and sports on your Instagram page. And so I guess my first question is, how do you sort of navigate your schedule, balancing sports? Like, how many times do you practice a day? And how did those practices eventually helped you um to get 7 minutes down in a year,
And a
in
5K.
5K? Yeah.
So I'll first talk about sports. I'm sure you just looking at my Instagram. I love sports. I love running. I love swimming. I love. Yeah, I'm sure you saw the Spartan race, which was a,
Oh,
a, a
the
real
third
interesting
one?
experience.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think sports are super critical, just in every aspect. I'm really making it a priority in my life to start it as a habit early, so that as I get older, it becomes just second nature. Because sports are not something just for kids. Exercise is not something just for athletes. Exercise is just, whenever humans millions of years ago, exercise wasn't called exercise. Exercise was called survival. So I'm just sort of, just playing into that and just keep on moving my body in whatever way possible to keep fit. Um, and with the 5K, the 5K was an interesting experience. I had started out for the first time. I ran a 25. I ran an entire year. I joined the cross country team at my school, and after running the entire year, I was able to really bring it down just through sheer consistency. I think that's the real key with running and with swimming is just consistency. You see
Mhm.
so many people think that as you get older in running, you get worse. Indeed, that might be true physically, but with the amount of just consistency and miles that you're able to build up, it really does help you in the long run.
Mhm.
Um, and I forgot you had another part of the question.
Yes.
Oh, how to manage my schedule.
Yes.
So I have a little bit of an unconventional technique. I find that many times whenever I'm not focused on a topic, I'm
Mhm.
indeed focused on something else. So for example, let's say I sit down and I want to write something, but
Mhm.
I'm not focused on what I'm doing. I'm focused on running. Okay. Indeed, I am. It's not like I'm not focused. I'm focused, just not on the right thing. Something that I like to do is many people say, get your work done first and do what you like, do what your passion is after. My way of doing it is to plan in advance and do what I like before, so that whenever I, get to what, what has to be done, I have a big morale boost because one, I've done something that I've already done, and two, I'm 100% focused because I'm not thinking about what am I going to do after because I already did it and I already had fun. So now I'm just thinking about, what's the task at hand, being in the moment and not worrying about, not thinking about and not anticipating what's going to be in the future.
That's really funny because you always hear this like message of work hard, play hard, but you're exactly the opposite. You're like,
You
play
play
hard,
hard.
work hard.
You have the steam. You have the energy. You have the hurrah to work hard. So that it's for me. It's just it's for me. Maybe it doesn't work for everyone else, but it's something that I do, and I think that if you really love something and that you're constantly thinking about it, despite your other tasks, try doing that before, so that you get what you want, you do what you want to do, and then you can work on your things.
Yeah. And I guess my last question for you is, can you put that, like, your schedule in perspective for us? Like, I think you just mentioned it pretty vaguely, like you do your work first, sorry, you play first and then you do your work first. But how would like a typical week in your schedule look like? Like, how many hours do you work on running? How many hours do you work on school, like at home? And also your sandwich initiative. Like, how do you balance all that?
Um, I balance it. I have an awesome family who helps me out in every step of the way. Um, a typical insight to my week is that the weekend is like a battery recharging for the week, for the entire week.
Yeah.
Once the week is ending, my battery typically is a little bit grilled, but then I recharge over the weekend. The weekend is spent for me running early in the morning. Like I say, early in the morning I run. During the summer, early in the morning I run. I do my language, the things that I really enjoy. And then I go into, let's say I have an essay due the next week, a math test, then I'll work on studying for that. And then, of course, family time, sandwich initiative time. I love writing emails to people I'm currently having an email correspondence with a Jersey Mike's, which is a big company in the U.S. for sandwiches. I'm currently writing to them, so it's all this. It's all about. I think just if you start off the day well, the end of the day will follow. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's how I sort of schedule my week. The weekend is for recharging, preparing, and then the week is whenever you really execute your plan.
Mhm. Perfect. Thank you so much, Leon, for being on Super Talk Show. It was great hearing all the tips you gave for time management, and also hearing about your experience with language learning, sports, and sandwich initiative.
Thank you
So
so much for having me. It was
much
awesome.
for your time. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.